Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I've got a very important video today, as you can see in front of me. I've done my best. This is my first time ever kind of putting together a Miro board, kind of fig jam board to kind of visually display the point I'm trying to get across here. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about your pop-up, okay? Why yours is currently broken, and how you can fix it to get the best results possible. Those results being more revenue from people who actually see your pop-up, they actually see it and they use the code or whatever it is, but also getting way more subscribers into your email list. That's obviously the end goal from today's video. So we're going to start here with your shitty pop-up. I'm going to talk through what a shitty pop-up is, then I'm going to go through a not so great flow. So a pop-up that's not great, that goes into a not so great flow. Then we're going to talk about the solution, so how to have a good pop-up and how to have a good flow based off the back of that pop-up. Then I'm going to show you what the outcomes would look like and kind of some key takeaways. So let's zoom in here. So a shitty pop-up will essentially be some standard Klaviyo template. A brand owner is going to come in here, look for something very basic, an image, and maybe it says sign up or whatever. They're going to pick it, then they're going to change the image, which I haven't bothered to do, but then they're going to probably offer 10% off like most brands do. Now, one thing that's not true today is that 10% off is dead. It's not. It still works. It's just your pop-up that isn't any good. Okay, and I'm going to get to why that is in a second. So you build a generic pop-up, you have a generic offer, and also what I see when I audit e-commerce Klaviyo accounts, a lot of them, the timing is just not great. So as you can see here in this screenshot, this is an account I was auditing. Their pop-up showed based off of a set of rules. Those rules were a time delay, and it was 20 seconds. This is way too long. On average, we would do around anywhere between kind of 4 to 8 seconds. Now, to be honest, there is no right answer for you because you're going to have to test it, but there's no way it's going to be 20 seconds long to get the best results. That's way too long. Some brands like to wait a little bit longer just to not kind of throw a pop-up in the customer's face straight away. Sometimes those e-com brands will do a scroll amount. So instead of a time delay, like this example where it shows up after 20 seconds, you can have it show up after they scroll 50% of the page or something like that. It'll show up that way. But this is far too long. So if you go and check your pop-up timing and targeting, if it's at 20 seconds or even like 12, 13, I would definitely run a test for like maybe 5 seconds, 8 seconds and see how that performs. So what this basically means is that you'll have a pop-up that looks like this. So Klaviyo gives you a green tick for 3% conversion rate, but that's just simply not good anymore. It's kind of the standard in terms of what e-commerce brands pop-ups would do, especially the Klaviyo native ones, and I'll get to that in a second. But if your pop-up is anywhere around 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5%, honestly, it's not performing well enough, and there is something that you're doing wrong that needs to be improved for your pop-up to do better. So that, to summarize, is a shitty pop-up. So generic Klaviyo pop-up, straight discount offer, no questions asked. Okay, this is a really important piece of the puzzle. So what I mean by no questions asked is when we're doing a pop-up for our brand, right? We'll do 10%, no problem. What we'll always do first is ask 1 or 2 questions before we ask them for their email. So you need that micro commitment before they feel comfortable giving their email. So for example, I think one of the examples I have in here is a wig brand that we were working with. And the first thing we do in the pop-up is ask why they're shopping with us, or have they used a wig before? And if so, for what reason, etc. You know, they're clicking yes, I've used the wig, yes, for this reason. And then it's like, oh, you have a discount, put in your email. They're already committed, they're already going through the journey. It massively boosts your conversion rate. So that's a huge part of the pop-up. Yeah, a lot of the time, copy will be too long. It'll fire too early or it'll fire too late, and it'll be converting at about 2 or 3%, which is obviously far too low. They're likely never tested as well. This is super important. The testing, like I said, the send times and the pop-up times and stuff like that is really, really important to know what actually works best for you. And also you're collecting email and nothing else. So that's another really important thing. When somebody comes to a brand's pop-up and there's a couple of questions first, like have you used a wig before? If so, for what reason? The answers that they choose is also data that we get to keep and use. That's unbelievably valuable. Like if someone's coming onto a website for a wig and they select, no, I've never used a wig before, or yes, I use wigs all the time, they're two completely different people who need completely different messaging. One audience needs to be shown how to use a wig, what the benefits are, why they should purchase, and the other crowd needs to just be, reinforced that you're the right wig to buy from because they know what wigs are like, they're used to them. So knowing that information, which they voluntarily give, is a game changer. So here's an example of a not so great flow. Okay, so your pop-up, one thing that we really stress when it comes to brands, and we're speaking with brands, it's like, yes, a pop-up is its own thing, but not really. It's really like the ground floor of your welcome flow. The best welcome flows out there are the ones where email 1 from Klaviyo, I would always treat that like email 2, and I pretend like the Klaviyo pop-up is email 1, because it really is. It's all part of the same system. Because effectively, the people giving the answers, they give their discount, they get welcome email 1 straight away. Like they're so close, they're so tight knit that they have to be congruent and they have to make sense to each other. And that's the best way to get results. So for example, this brand here, this is an example of a not so great first email. It's literally just a big massive image. So I obviously screenshotted this and I kind of cut out the top half, but it's just a huge image up the top with no copy, no button, no call to action, nothing. And as you can see, yeah, you get a free gift for signing up to this brand's pop-up, but they wait until all the way to the end to even mention it. Okay, so it's just copy, welcome to the brand, a little bit about when they started. To be honest, it's just copy, no one's going to read. Select your GIF, at checkout, use code GIFT. Like this should read a lot smoother. And in hindsight, I should have probably put an example in here, but you can get the idea. It's like, okay, 95% of people who sign up for your pop-up, they want the offer. So that needs to be front and center. It needs to be right in their face, right away, the second they open the email. They don't need to scroll, they don't need to do anything. There should be a button and the offer right in front of them. Then you'll have some handful of people who'll read on and they'll enjoy the rest of the email, but most of the people are going to click straight through and use your offer. So yeah, I would definitely revamp this big time. It's not really going to perform very well. Then this is the second email. It's literally this. It's like so much friction. The most frequently asked questions about the brand, and then it's prompting them to go to watch a YouTube video. This is not going to work. Like the way email marketing works is you want as little friction as possible to get the person back to the website. Email marketing is really a traffic driver. It's free traffic. You shouldn't be sending someone to a YouTube video. Now, you could do this 6, 7, 8 emails into the welcome flow. If you really have something great that you think like people should see this, you may push it, but you're not going to make it the whole email, and you're not going to try and push everybody to watch a YouTube video. So when you're also building your welcome flow, make sure that it makes sense with the pop-up. Whatever the offer is what they get first, and everything after that is just how can I get people back to my website with as little friction as possible. We like FAQ emails and welcome flows, but they need to just be scannable, they need to be readable, they need to be reviews, they need to be super simple for a customer to digest, and there need to be so many opportunities for them to be able to click back to the website. So these are 2 examples of not so great email 1 in the welcome flow and email 2. So now the all important part is the solution. Okay, so this is the solution that's going to fix your pop-up. If you're somebody who's got a pop-up that looks like this and an email welcome flow that looks like this, here is how you fix it. Okay, so you just switch to Aliyah. Okay, we use Aliyah for every single e-commerce brand that we work with. They are a third-party pop-up software. They're the best in the game. It's as simple as that. I don't really need to kind of explain too much about it, but they effectively integrate with your Klaviyo, with your Shopify as an app, and then the pop-up runs from there. They've just got so much more functionality. They fit your website a lot better. They also have scratch offs and like tumblers and stuff like that. They're getting really creative with it lately, but they are just proven to convert far, far, far higher. And that's all you need to know, really. You don't even need to, you can go on and on about how good it is, but you want the result, and Aaliyah is the best platform for the result. I don't know the guys from Aaliyah. We don't have any affiliation in terms of they don't give us any percentage if people use their software or whatever. I'm just giving you what we use and what works best. So this is the software that we would use. This is an example of the wig brand that we help out, right? Okay, so this is the first thing that they see. You've got a mystery discount, massive writing, front and center, mystery discount. You cannot miss it. But it then asks them a question. Have you used a wig before? Yes for hair loss, yes for styling, no first time. So it's proven that these pop-ups that ask kind of a question first get so many more submissions. It's kind of like you're kind of breaking down the person's armor and like their defense. They don't want to give you their email, but yeah, I'll answer a question because why not? It's super simple. It's just multiple choice. Then they answer the question, and the next step for this brand is just the email. So for this brand, we just did one question and then the email because we tested multiple questions, and that's just the combination that worked best for this brand's audience. So that's the software we use. That's an example of what a pop-up would look like. And down here is how you use their answer to split your welcome flow into separate paths. Okay, this is super important. So there's 3 answers here. Yes, yes, and no. Yes for hair loss, yes for styling, no first time. Then the welcome flow. The person enters the welcome flow, and you can see here the conditional split is the question, have you used a wig before equals no, have you used a wig before equals yes, have you used a wig before equals yes, because there's obviously 2 yes answers. And then that sends them a different email one. So a lot of the time, it'll just be the first email that's different. The first email will resonate with their answer. And then you can just do like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th email, all the same for all of them because they're going to be quite generic anyway, just reinforcing the brand, the journey, FAQs, bestsellers, that kind of stuff. But it's really that first email makes them feel like, oh, I got a real personal email there. I said yes for hair loss, and then the first email mentioned hair loss, what it can do, it played on those pain points, and so on and so forth. So it's really, really good to be able to use the third-party data that they literally give you in your welcome flow. So that's kind of how you do it. Now here's the results that we've gotten for some of the brands that we work with. So in this instance, this is October 4th to November 3rd last year, so maybe like 3 months ago. This is just the last screenshot I had. One of our brands for a full month on average was doing 21% conversion rate with their pop-up. Now, I will be honest, this is like an outlier, freakish results, but on average, a lot of the brands we help do between 10, 12, 13, like still 5x what brands are doing on Klaviyo. So this has proven to be incredible for this one specific brand. It increases the conversion rate on the website. It fits the website a lot better. Like it's just, honestly, the proof is in the pudding. The results are incredible with this kind of style. And it's what we use for every single brand that we help. So lastly, I'm yawning because I'm tired. Okay, key takeaways for this video, super simple. Your pop-up and your welcome flow are one system. They are not 2 separate things. Don't want to treat them separately. You need to remember when someone signs up to your pop-up, they get the welcome email straight away. It feels like the same thing for them because it is. So they have to be congruent, they have to feel the same, they have to work, you have to give the person what you offer them, like super quick, okay? Speed is key. Secondly, a 2 to 3% converting pop-up is a red flag. 10% plus is 100% achievable for every single brand. You need to know your audience, which a lot of you guys do, but you need to have the right software, the right pop-up, the right timing, the right offer, and then the right flow, and it will work, okay? Number 3, collect the data before you get the email. Again, the questions are going to be key. It's a micro commitment. You have them clicking, you have them giving you info, and then the email comes up, and they just put it in. Number 4, personalized paths in your welcome flow will always outperform a single generic sequence. If you ask questions like, hey, have you used a wig before? Yes, no. And your first email is like, welcome to the brand, like, it's going to be okay, but it's not specific enough. And lastly, if you're not testing your pop-up monthly, you're leaving money on the table. So every single month, to be honest, every week, all the time, we're testing our clients' pop-ups just to make sure that maybe if we do 1 second sooner, 2 seconds later, we switch the copy around, switch the offer around for different times of year. That's another thing as well. Like with Black Friday, with Christmas, with all these different events, you need to be switching the pop-up to match those as well. But yeah, that is it, guys. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I feel like I've done my best to kind of go through everything and not take forever, even though it's already been like 10 minutes or more. 15, 16 minutes, oh my God. Yes, so that is literally how you go from a shitty pop-up to a good pop-up with good results. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment. I'm going to be posting more videos every week. As you can see, this is the pop-up video. I also have repeat buyer video, pop-up giveaway, so people use giveaways in their pop-up, and then post-purchase welcome flow. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned. And yes, thank you for watching, guys.